But anyway, enough about old men's balls. Let's talk about comic books. Let's go to the pull box.
Pull box.
All right, let me pull up my notes here.
Yeah, since I don't got the book.
Well, no, I got some shit to talk about beforehand, before the actual book. So, some new things this week in the world of comic books. Cosmic Ghost Rider #1 came out, the new Cosmic Ghost Rider series, as there's already been a Cosmic Ghost Rider series.
Is it still Frank?
I'm not sure. I just saw that it just came out, #1. I wasn't going to give Marvel more of my money. I gave them $4 this week, and they better be happy. They better be grateful that they got $4 out of me, and it's because they came out with a new character. So gave a new character the spotlight in their own book. And we'll get into that in a second. Rogue and Gambit came out. Who cares? Spider-Gwen Shadow clones. There were a ton of really cool variants for this one. And I'm a huge fan of Spider-Gwen. I'm just a spider simp.
Isn't she like Ghost Spider now?
Yes, she's Ghost Spider now. And when I was reading the description of the book and they refer to her as Ghost Spider, I was like, who's Ghost Spider?
Yeah, I remember hearing something about that.
I guess they don't want to, I don't know, whatever reason. It's Marvel. I'm sure they have some reason for that. And then the new Action and Detective comics came out this week. They're a bi-weekly series, and I think I'm cool now because I am reading both Action and Detective, and for some reason I feel like that makes me a hipster, because I'm like, oh, all I need is my Action and Detective comics, the longest running comic books of blah, 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 blah.
I think I remember you giving me shit for being a Batman fan years ago because of this kind of thing, being like, oh, James is a Batman fan, he's a status quo. He's, just all this. It wasn't. I'm not even really not necessarily a Batman fan, but like, I get Batman. I used to be.
He's got the best rogues gallery.
He does. He's got great villains.
As we talk about them almost every episode.
Yeah, I mean, lately it's just one bad day has been a theme. So,
right.
But I digress.
But I mean, Detective has been one of the only good comic books to read. Same with the Batman series. And I just wanted to be I wanted Action to start with a new series so I can hop into Action and feel like a nerd going into the comic books where I'm like, one of Action and one Detective.
I will say that seeing some of the recent artwork for
Detective,
really
killer.
Good. I love
killer
it.
Stuff.
I love it. It looks really good.
And yeah, I love Superman, so I need a new Action. And a new Superman series did just come out, and I started reading that, so that was good. And the new Barbarella series, The Center Cannot Hold, which had also a ton of cool variants, and I'm going to get into that in a bit because they were really, really sharp. Let me grab my books. What was in my pull box this week? We're going to be doing 2 weeks, a quick skim through. Here's my Action Comics 1052, so I have proof that I'm a hipster and I'm super cool and I read Action and Detective. Here's one of those detective books we were talking about with a really cool cover. Oh, it's just like super sharp artwork on Detective Comics these days. I love it. There's Superman #1, the new Superman series that came out is pretty good. I like it so far because I love a good lighthearted Superman story where we just see Superman being Superman, lighthearted, being a good guy Superman and shit like that. And it had a cool cover. So I thought I would grab that. Image Comics got my money this week with Local Man #1. This is a really interesting artsy book. It is one of those flip halfway through and read the other side.
Oh, I missed those. I haven't seen those in forever.
They're fun, and they have like two interjoining stories. The first story looks like a cheesy 90s superhero team, and we see them in action at the beginning, and then something happens.
Very, very Rob Liefeld.
Oh, it's purposefully.
It's not 100% Liefeld because there's talent involved here, but
sorry,
Rob.
Sorry, Rob. We have your generic characters with just like different names, and we know that some dramatic thing happened, but we don't know what. But through the other side of the book, we see one of the characters that was on the superhero team in a more realistic or more serious comic book art style, returning home. Everyone hates him. We found out something happened between him and another one of the superheroes on the team. And this is going to be a really interesting drama series that is going to get my money, I think, the next couple weeks because it's different.
That reminds me of there was actually an indie comic that I came across the other day that I read. It's called Wind, WYND.
I'm familiar. I haven't read it, but I've seen the covers.
I read the first issue, and it was pretty good.
Is it an Image comic?
I'm not sure if it's Image.
It's got to be either Image or probably not Dark Horse.
I don't remember the label.
Maybe Boom.
But it was like $10 for that first issue.
Oh, they're already making it so hard.
Making it really hard, but it was good. I mean, okay. I wanted, but the artwork was exquisite.
What sold you?
Yeah, and it had like some weird Mothman type dude on it. So it's like, if it's got a Mothman on it, it's got to be good, right?
It's got to be good.
Yeah.
And the last thing I wanted to talk about with like Marvel's spotlight on a new character, this is called Hollow's Eve, #1, and it focuses on the character called Eve or Hollow's Eve. And
there's like all kinds of goblins on the front.
Well, this girl was Ben Reilly's girlfriend, our alternate universe Spider-Man. And something happened, and she somehow got into possession of a bag of magical Halloween masks. And she can put them all on, and it gives her different powers and stuff like that.
I had an idea like this
I'm sure
years
you
ago.
did. I'm sure
God
you did.
damn it!
I'm like, this is some edgelord goth boy fucking idea for a superhero. But honestly, it's cool. It's different, And I thought the first issue was really good. And it's cool. She puts on the werewolf mask. She turns into a werewolf. She doesn't put on the vampire mask because she gets a little too aggressive. She has a ghost mask that makes her all spectral.
Oh, that's freaking awesome.
So it is a pretty cool, and I like that all the text box are black and orange.
Yeah,
it's
I
spooky.
like that. That's cool.
And yeah, like I said, this is some emo goth boy shit, and I was on board, and it had a ton of cool covers. So I bought this one because I thought it was neat, but there was an Art Germ cover that I wanted to get because he's a great artist, but I couldn't get it. And Blue Beetle Graduation Day was in my pull box because my kid's reading that one, and that's it. That was all that was
Logan's
in my pull box.
reading Blue Beetle?
He's reading Blue Beetle, the new series right now. It's a 6-part limited series called Graduation Day, and I took him to the store and I wanted him to pick out a book just totally unbiased from me. I'm like, go and look at characters, and pick one out. And so like he's like, oh, what's Blue Beetle? I'm like, I have no idea. And he's like, all right. And they got a movie coming out this year for him, which is cool. So he's on board.
Well, I mean, okay, I know back in the day, my Blue Beetle was Ted Cord. I know now it's
the original, like bold,
with
yellow
with yellow goggles and stuff.
He's
like
in the
that.
series.
Is he? I mean, I want to make sure that he's intact because it's weird that they have this new Blue Beetle who's like alien tech, and all this cool stuff, and I'm all on board with it.
I know nothing about the Blue Beetle, so I'm just like, hey, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very symbiote-y. That's the best way I can. It's very Venom.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would assume that when I don't know anything about Blue Beetle, but when I hear that, my brain immediately goes straight for big bad
Beetleborgs. Well, well, the new incarnation is not that all that different. From...
Yeah, I mean, kind of. He's not like a Power Ranger like the
no, but he still has like a power from like an alien tech. Like
not from
Scarab or
Jay Leno Dracula.
No,
I was gonna say anytime I see Jay Leno, I also think of Big Bad Beetleborgs.
All right, so that's what was in my box this week, and that's what I'm reading. Maybe I'll talk about the other stuff in future episodes, or let me know if you have any of those books, or if you're reading them. What do you think?
I really
about them?
want to read that one.
Oh, you can borrow it. That's all you. So I want to talk about the cover of the week this week. Last time we did cover of the week, it was really easy for Alex Ross. This week, Alex Ross was back at it again, but he did not get my cover of the week because I felt like there was some other stuff going on outside of the Rossdom that needed some attention because he did a super dope Green Goblin cover for not a Spider-Man book. It was just a totally weird book and a Mystique, and they both look phenomenal. But it's Alex
I could
Ross.
see him doing a really good Mystique for sure.
I am a total scumbag and buy smutty girl covers all the time, dude. I can't help it. I'm like, ooh, is that a bikini cover? Give me that. Ooh, that looks smutty. Give me that. I want that shit.
It's wonder why you're not a sucker for cosplay chicks.
It's amazing I have a lady in my life, you know? But on that note, Harley Quinn number 27, Alex Gardner cardstock cover. Totally awesome. Not smutty, but a really nice Harley Quinn, like, sexy cover. Always nice. I'm not a big Harley Quinn guy, but I have a fair amount of smutty Harley Quinn covers, so That is what it is. Let's see here. The Hallows Eve 200 copy art germ that I mentioned before was really slick. But the thing that got it for me, the winner of cover of the week this week, was the Barbarella The Center Cannot Hold 10 copy Chew variant. And it is just sharp, man. And it's just like Barbarella in her prime. It looks like some sort of Cyberpunk 2099 neon lights, kind of deal. She's got a little like Fennec Fox looking thing with her, and she's just looking like a babe.
Barbarella's great.
What is it? What's the line from the Clutch song that precedes "Set to Stun"?
Oh.
It is.
Walks in Barbarella. Yeah.
Set to Stun. And me and Nick, the first time we talked about this song together at the same time, we both went, set to stun. Yeah, Barbarella killed it this week on cover of the week. But anyway, I want to talk about our book and discussion this week, and that is, I almost said Bane, One Bad Day. It is One Bad Day Clayface, which is the newest entry in the series, the first before the last one. We still got one more to go, and that is One Bad Day Ra's al Ghul, which I think is weird. Because I don't think he fits into the category.
He doesn't fit that mold.
No, all these other people are the typical rogues gallery.
Yeah, but Ra's, that's a good way to end it, though. I feel like that's because he's so difficult to capture. And how do you finish Ra's al Ghul's story,
Are we going to see, like, a tragic backstory?
Right, like, what are we going to, what's going to be here? Like,
I just don't see how you can make it interesting. Because he's such a character beyond, I feel like, the scope of this.
Right, because he's outside of any kind of, like, what kind of personal connection can one, like, really identify? I guess what it comes down to is, like, he's fundamentally an eco-terrorist,
Yeah.
I feel like there's got to be something that would push his button, no matter what. There's always, for the most elitist of Dr. Doom out there, there's some way to push his button. I feel like it has something to do with his daughter. It's got to be has something to do with Talia.
Talia.
Or
I
even
like
Damien.
Her name.
Maybe Damien. Talia
al Ghul.
Talia al
Ghul.
The name just screams sex.
Yes.
It's a nice mouthful.
Yeah, there you go. And if you're talking about the sexy thing still. But anyway.
Both.
One Bad Day Clayface. This is written by Jackson Lansing, which I just want to say Danzig or Lansing. But no, it's Lansing.
It would be great if it was illustrated by
No, it would just be girls with huge tits and blood and like skulls and shit, werewolves.
Yeah, it would.
You're like, oh yeah, it would have made it better. It would have made it better.
It's way better this way.
Oh, this all really happened. So anyway, he did work from. He's a new writer, or at least new in the grand scheme of major comic book production. He's been in like 2017 to the present. He did 2022's Captain America, DC's Nuclear Winter Special, and Nightwing. And he's also done a couple other things like Dog Days of Summer, all like DC one-shot specials that are just kind of fun and goofy where they give multiple writers a shot at a little bit. So it's kind of cool to see him. And then for the artist, we have Colin Kelly. Who's basically just worked with Lanzig, I'm going to call him. He's done the same stuff as Lanzig, plus Batman Beyond Neo Year from 2022.
Oh, there you go, Nick.
There you go.
Ooh, good artist.
Actually, no, that was the other writer. There's two writers for this.
I was going to say,
sorry,
okay.
This is outside of the norm of the other books, because this has two writers in it.
Okay.
They've worked together. It seems like they can't be a good writer on their own, so they have to work with each other on all their projects.
I'm missing some shit here, dude.
Right, but they do a good job.
Well, a lot of, I feel like creative teams work just really well together, and that's just how it is. Like who are those? Moorhead and Benson? Is that the directors?
I'm not sure.
They worked on Moon Knight, and they've done a couple movies together.
Okay.
But yeah, they work as a team, The Russo brothers, for instance, So
I gotcha.
Maybe that's his situation. I don't know.
The art is done by our one-word name, kind of like Prince Germanico or Germanico. It starts with an X. I don't know. It's
fancy.
I'm American. I'm gonna be an asshole and be like, I can't pronounce it.
I think it's
Is that some Latin X thing?
Germanico.
Is it X starts with X?
It starts with an X.
Probably either Z, like a Z sound, or Ger.
Hey, if you're listening, buddy, tell us how you pronounce your name in the comments. He's worked on Boom's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from 2016 to 2020, which has really cool art because he did the, I believe he might have also done the Power Rangers Meet the Ninja Turtles series, which was really fun.
Oh, the action figures are really cool.
They are really cool, and the series is cool because Shredder gets the Green Ranger's power or whatever.
And I saw Casey Jones got an upgrade too, man. He's a Ranger now, Ranger X.
And
So is that like during the Power Rangers like ninja phase? Or
no, it's a
completely
standalone
unrelated?
series.
Yeah,
own thing.
I saw a couple of tidbits here and there about it. It was pretty.
It's not connected to anything or in any particular time. If anything, it's in the current timeline of the Power Rangers. But I think it might still have. No, it's not the current because it has like Trini and all of the original Mighty Morphin people as characters in the story. Tommy and all of them. And then Zermanico has also done work on Kiss comic books from 2012. Congratulations, a handful of people appreciate that. And Injustice and other DC stuff. But he's a good artist. I like it. But the overall plot for this, and I'm going to read it because I can't type out a good plot on my own. All Basil Carlo ever wanted to be was an actor. No, one of the greatest actors there ever has been. However, his life went off course when he became the shape-shifting monster known as Clayface. After years of doing battle in Gotham City and distancing himself from his dream, Clayface goes out west to Los Angeles. Creating a new identity, he pursues his dream of acting only to find that Gotham City isn't the only place with an overwhelming sense of dread to it, and that he might not have what it takes to make it in the City of Angels. So he'll reshape the city to fit his needs in a deadly pursuit of stardom.
I feel like that description is basically the problem.
What do you mean? Lay it on me.
And the way I mean that is Clayface is right.
What do you mean Clayface is right? Normally I'm on the side of the villains and I'm like, yeah, I get it.
It's just like, dude, they're compromising the art for just a cheap production of what people want.
He's a true blue thespian. He loves acting. He loves the theater.
His heart's in it.
His heart is in it. And that's a problem he runs into in the book, is that in trying to be a true artist, he's in a world where it's all just about making money, cheap production, making it happen.
Yeah. Making it relatable. That was one of the key highlighted things in the issue. So
the way this book starts out, and what I like about the dialogue or the dialogue boxes in this, is that it's artsy. So like the first page looks like a journal, like someone's been typing in it, and it just says
it's actually written like a film script.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's written like a script. Like type font and everything, highlights, setting.
That's a cool take.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
And then, you know what? Unlike Bane, this was super easy to read. It was.
I had difficulty at first just because there's so much going on in the restaurant and like people taking their orders and the dialogue between him and the other wait staff.
I know what you mean. There's a couple pages where they're showing multiple things going on, like how they show multiple scenes in a movie back to back.
Yeah,
to show everything going on in one
Initially,
spot.
It's kind of like a little bit
jarring.
confusing. Yeah, and I didn't really know, but going on, it was much easier to get into it.
Yeah. And so we get a look into Clayface's like apartment. It all looks nice, but then we see like a picture of like the perfect face that he's made out of pictures and like taped them all together. And he's talking more and more. Like, what is some of the dialogue here? He says,
he's putting himself
this
together.
is what it is. He's in the bathtub. It's just like a puddle of clay, and he's just talking. He's like, I'm new to Los Angeles, but I don't think I'll ever leave. My name is Basil Carlo, and I'm here for an audition. And it shows him turning himself into Clayface, but with a human arm, and like I'm here for an audition.
Yeah, he's kind of like making himself into the image of this pastiche of a face that he has on the wall to kind of like, I guess, use as a reference to build himself.
It's his new self.
Yeah. Clay. His name is Clay.
And so it shows him morphing into this guy and working in a restaurant, right? And just kind of getting to know all the people
the ins
in
and
the
outs,
restaurant.
because all the people there, they all had their aspirations for Hollywood too,
and they all like him. All the people that work at his workplace, the restaurant or whatever, they all like him. He has a good relationship with all of these people. He's on good terms. He's always helping them out, but they also have interest in making sure he gets there. Like, it's a good relationship and weird. But
yeah, and it's weird because, like, granted, I don't know a lot about Clayface, but it's like he's building rapport and he's developing relationships with these people, and you think they're healthy.
Right.
And
so we see him basically going to these auditions with a friend of his, and he's trying for the part and he's putting his heart into it, and they're like, can you make this a little happier? And he's like, happy? I am a distraught character!
Yeah, and the great thing is like they're doing from what we can see in the script and the lines and stuff, a movie for The Killing Joke. Because he's playing the Red Hood.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's an interesting scope at this too, that The Killing Joke is canon to their universe, or a story, I guess. Did it happen in real life and they're making a movie out of it?
Well, that's the thing. I guess that kind of plays into it a little bit. Like to say that this is everybody else's version of The Killing Joke, I guess.
Okay.
That's the way I kind of read into it a little bit.
All right. No, that's cool. So he goes to the audition with his buddy, who's also an actor. They both try out. They don't like Basil. And as they're leaving the audition, they go somewhere just to shoot the shit and talk. And his coworker tells him that he got the part. And this just like, it's a really cool little panel because he's just talking to him. He's like, hey, like, it's exciting, yada, yada, yada. And he turns around and he just Clayfaces him.
Engulfs him. He just engulfs him because he's so pissed off that this kid over here who put the lightheartedness into the role, I guess, that they were looking for, because it wasn't as heavy as Carlo wanted.
Right.
So then that resentment is just there, and he just engulfs him and kills him.
But he turns into him, right?
He turns into him, and it's almost T-1000-ish in a way. Like to me, it's kind of like that contact with them. If you engulf them, it's kind of like you're getting a mold of their shape.
Right.
So like he absorbs his DNA and then he can replicate him.
He can just take his shape.
Yeah, it's just like, if anybody can do it, it would be Carlo, I guess.
Well, yeah, he just morphs himself to look like the person or whatever. Because he doesn't absorb the guy. He just like suffocated him, basically.
Right. Like,
I was gonna say, does Clayface have to like kill the person he's trying to shapeshift into
No. He
or
can make
absorb
himself
them?
look whoever he wants.
So he's not pulling a Kirby every time?
No. But it's like, he just, when this guy's dead, he just looks like a dried out husk, but it's just, he doesn't necessarily take anything from him to look like him. He just looks like him.
Right. And so he assumes the appearance of this guy that got the part and goes back to work as the guy. And they start calling him out because he thinks now that he has the part, he can do what he wants and be an actor and bring, his heart to the role.
Right.
And they keep correcting him, like, you're like not even the same guy. What's
right.
up with that?
The people, the directors and stuff are in on, and we're like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. And so after he makes a whole scene on set, his manager comes to see him at his trailer and is yelling. She's like, you can't believe all the things I did to make this happen, blah, blah, blah. You don't understand what I do, blah, blah, blah. And as she's walking out, he Clayfaces her.
Yeah, Clayfaces her. She's dead.
Gobbles her all up.
I don't have that much experience with Clayface. I remember seeing him like a small handful of times during like the animated series. Mm-hmm. Like he'd turn his arm into a hammer, or Batman would swing like an I-beam at him, and like the clay would just like shift to the other side.
Right. In this issue, though, it's weird though because there's an instance where he recounts some of his encounters with Batman, and he talks about the physicality and the fights, and he says how much it hurts to be punched by Batman because he's rigid. And despite the fact that Clayface might be malleable and just clay, he still feels. And that to me,
ouch.
Yeah, to me that was a really poignant part, and I was just like, oh dude, that's actually kind of profound, because he's getting his ass kicked and it's like it hurts you think that he's just because he's a monster that he can take a beating,
Exactly.
And it's not exactly like that.
No.
And to me, that was kind of like one of the endearing parts of the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you kill a Clayface?
You get him wet.
Yeah,
turn him into mud.
Water's not really his friend.
Yeah, you just basically break him down to his face.
Yeah.
And then jar his face up.
That's how it was done in this issue, actually.
Right. So Clayface goes back on set, basically kills everybody, freaks out because no one appreciates art. The director comes in, sees that he's killed everybody. He kills the director and assumes the role of the director to basically throw a massive party for himself at the director's house.
No, that wasn't the director. He killed the director first, then he went to the producer who asked the director what the fuck was going on.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
because the producer was the guy who had all the money.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's whose house he threw it at.
Yep, so he has a party. He invites all of his friends from his job. He's like, oh, I made it now. Come here. And they keep asking. They're like, where's so-and-so?
And of all people to show up to be like there, Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne is there.
Bruce Wayne is there because he heard that they're making a movie about the Grey Ghost. Oh, Grey Ghost factors.
And he's a huge Grey Ghost
fan.
Yeah.
Well, you got to read the rest of the issue to see how Grey Ghost factors into that. But that was kind of cool, too.
So basically, they're at this party. They keep asking questions about what happened to the dude that Clayface had killed in the beginning. And Bruce Wayne is there. And what? He basically just reveals that he's Clayface?
Well, his two friends ask him what happened to the other friend that got killed initially. The first guy, the actor. I forgot what the hell his name was.
Yeah, I did too.
But when they confront him about it, he kind of loses his cool because he can't keep his story straight. When you're a liar, that's what happens.
Yeah.
And Clayface, that's his number one asset, is he's a liar.
Right.
He has to be.
He's constantly just to even maintain face.
So when he does so, they're onto him. He basically exploits himself in the process, and from there, shit turns downwards, and Batman gets involved.
Well, someone notices, like, they call him out. Everyone knows he's Clayface. His friends, they're like calling the police, yada yada. And my favorite panel of the whole book is on this next page, where he sees that his friend is called 911, and he starts morphing into all of face, and he goes, I'm anyone, I'm everyone.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't I get the role? And he leaps down and crashes onto the ground with a big, it's my turn kind of deal. And that was a really just powerful. You feel it, and you feel bad. Even though he's killed all these people, you feel bad because I don't know if anyone else was a total loser growing up, but you're like, when is my turn?
It is. It's a thing where it's like all the Batman villains have something about them that's kind of relatable. And Freeze was... They made it poignant, and like all the other issues too. This was like, dude, yeah, I get it. Especially when it comes to art, your own art. You feel like you have something to give, and people want to see it. But then you feel like your talent is wasted, by people that are lesser.
Yeah. Like how you're over here doing this podcast with me. Right?
Don't blow me into it.
James leaves after this and goes, I can't believe they put me in that room
bullshit
with those losers.
James, you know you know what button I pressed to go to your camera? Number one, baby.
Number one. No, don't.
He saw that on the first episode, and it's gone to his head since then. Just like,
that's bullshit. I hate
just right in the high.
Yeah.
I hate no. It's awful.
You're number one, James. He's number one.
I think the most unique thing about...
That's only because... The only way I can rationalize is because I say that I'm number one in your heart, not everybody else's.
Okay.
Your heart.
Yeah.
Your heart.
Dealer's choice,
is the only one that matters.
Let's quit jerking each other off here. All right.
Gotta reach around this whole... Anyways, what I find the most fascinating or the most interesting about this whole One Bad Day series is we see all these villains that are normally stomping ass, and they're in like a vulnerable position.
Sure.
They're in
it's their
compromising.
story.
Yeah,
they're all being humanized.
It's grade A.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
I like that. Yeah.
And this one really hits home. And so at the end of this, it starts to rain. Batman shows up.
That whole narrative about the rain, because he says in the beginning, it never rains in LA. But when Batman comes, it fucking rains.
And when it rains, it pours, baby.
Oh my god, it's such an awesome friggin' because Batman comes all the way to Gotham, all the way from Gotham, and he brings the rain.
Oh man. So Batman shows up, it starts raining, they fight each other. Basically Clayface breaks down to a hand with
the help
face.
of Batman, because of the water and stuff.
And he captures him and locks him away. And then at the end, we get a cool little scene of Clayface's prison. And he's basically just a little face in the center of the prison. And it morphs out on all sides. It's all the people that he killed. He's asking for feedback from his acting or the monologue from those people. So really cool little closer on that one.
It's bittersweet.
Yeah.
All of them, man.
Like all of them. So that was it for One Bad Day, Clayface. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't picked it up yet, pick it up. We didn't spoil really any of it. I mean, other than the main story, but all the good parts. We didn't, all the dramatic parts we didn't talk about.
The most importantly, if you enjoy
art.
If you enjoy the art, you will enjoy this book. Because, Clayface is a man who approves of and, appreciate the art for what it is. Harlow Basil.
Basil.
Not to be confused with the Rathbone, though I'm sure that he was probably an inspiration.
Okay.
I will say that. I'm not sure. Basil Rathbone? You know the name?
I'm not familiar, no.
Okay, so you're too young.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I know Wraithbone, that stuff that the Eldari have and build their shit out of, but I don't know Rathbone.
Basil Rathbone was an old school actor. He was in a lot of really good films, and then he ended up...
shit.
Yeah, then he ended up in some really shit films subsequently.
Okay.
Yeah, but Basil was the man. But I digress. Awesome book.
Yeah.
Fantastic read. I think that you'll like it if you're a Batman or Clayface fan.
Yeah, or if you've already read it, let us know what you think about it down in the comments below. And look forward to One Bad Day, Ra's al Ghul. We might be talking about it. It all depends.
I'm intrigued.
Okay.
Sure. So
you much more than me. We'll see how it goes. Because maybe a different book will come. Maybe you'll like Hallows Eve so much that we need to talk about it next episode. Because I think it was interesting. And so we're done with One Bad Day, Clayface. I want to take a step back to Hallows Eve really quick before we move on to the ticket booth and talk about our movie. So, I always complain that Marvel always just changes characters, making them gay, making them whatever, for the sake of just doing it.
Yeah, it gets old.
There's nothing to support that other than they're like, we need to get a different audience. We need to diversify.
Right. If it was for more minimal characters, there were on the periphery.
Oh, that weren't so highly established.
Shatterstar. You can make Shatterstar gay.
Sure.
It's fine. It's but
the gay community doesn't want Shatterstar, okay.
Shatterstar's cool, dude. I like Shatterstar, even despite the Liefeld doesn't mean Liefeld was pissed about him learning that he was gay or bisexual.
They don't even want the Razzle Dazzle or the Rat Dazzler from X-Men.
Right.
That's what she's called, right? The fireworks chick?
Jubilee.
Jubilee.
Well, they're both fireworks chicks.
Right.
I think you mentioned once before that there was a gap between issues where Jubilee literally was Dazzler turned into Jubilee or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't
know.
I
mean, fundamentally, that's kind of what it came down to because everybody forgot about Dazzler and then Jubilee was there.
Right. But the thing about Hallows Eve is that this is a newer character that probably will suffer from identity issues at some point from all of her different identities, all the different masks that she's wearing. Why not make her a gay character, or why not write a story about someone struggling with their identity?
She would probably be pansexuality fits for a character like that.
Well, I'm just saying any kind of story that focuses on identity issues, I feel like this would be the perfect opportunity to make a gay character that's decent, that isn't converting another character to be a queer character for no reason. And I don't think they're going to do it. But I was just reading this. I'm like, you know what? I read this and I think about identity.
Yeah.
I feel like she's going to struggle with her identity, and why not write a really deep and meaningful story?
Well, right out the gate, I think that she's an
gender
amazing
identity
character.
or sexuality identity or whatever it may be.
Right.
Perfect opportunity, and they're missing it. So normally I'm like, they're making my characters gay, and I'm like, they're not making them gay. Like, what's Marvel doing over there?
I mean, if a character was gay by default,
Right.
and I enjoyed that character, and they made him straight, I'd be pissed.
Yeah. Well, it's changing a character. You like that character for a reason because they are who they are at that particular time.
Right. You like him for those reasons.
Right.
If any character started off as gay, I wouldn't want to change that nature of them.
Well, and you know what sucks? Every time Marvel has tried to make a couple new characters that were queer, and they're terrible. They're fucking. I don't even remember their names. It's like a whole squad of queer
That's
characters.
just bad fucking
It's just-
creativity, and they're doing
half-assed.
it. They're doing it for the sake of their sexuality.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't. It's not about them as a person. It's not about them as a
Right,
character.
right.
It's just like, look at the gay
Which
Avengers.
is, I mean, sexuality is just a fraction. It's not the entirety of your being. You
Right.
know?
And first and foremost, I wouldn't complain about these books if the stories were actually written well, but they're not. It's terrible and it's pandering, and I don't like it.
Everything's been done before.
Yeah, but anyway, that's enough about my identity rant and my comic book
That
rant.
book sounds amazing, and that character sounds
Yeah,
amazing.
if you're interested about
I
Hallow's
definitely-
Eve, check it out, or listen and wait to us talk about it eventually at some point.